So how do you paint whiskers using watercolour? Today I'm going to give away my secrets on how I do this. Now when I start to think about painting whiskers, I tend to consider the consistency of the paint. The colours as well obviously is very important. Because sometimes you need watery, sometimes milky, sometimes creamy consistency. And that will depend obviously on the subject you're painting. So let me give you some ideas on the colours I'm going to use today. So let's have a look at burnt sienna. Got some fresh burnt sienna in there today, look, nice and fresh. Got to pop that one into, let's say there, that'll do. Now I tend to fill my half pans up using tube paint. Now if you're interested in learning how I do that, have a look at the link to the top right and that'll give you some ideas on what I do, okay. Might have a little bit more. Now I want to get this more to, let's say more of a milky consistency. So to do that, let's add some water in there using my pipette. Okay, probably a couple of drops should do to begin with. And that is nice and sort of milky. Now I think of three consistencies. So we've got watery, so the same from your tap, your faucet. We've got milky, so a little bit thicker than water. Okay, so that should run down, it's a little bit thicker than water there. And then there's creamy as well. Obviously you can have thick for a fourth one if you want to. So there's a little bit more water in there. Now if I test that with a size 00 brush on some scrap watercolour paper, you can see the sort of colour that this is now. And it's not thick, so it's quite runny as you can see. And that's okay for doing light fine whiskers. So tap some paint off there a minute. I get some nice fine lines through using that. But what if I want a colour that's one darker and also a little bit thicker? So let's go for a mixture of two colours this time around, shall we? So burnt umber, using my half pans, I've got to work it up as you can see here. I'm using one of my old brushes, an old acrylic mixing brush, which I've had for many, many years. And I just use it mostly just for mixing with. You don't use your decent brushes for mixing paint, you really don't. Okay, a bit of water in there, just put one drop in to begin with. And I want this more now to a creamy consistency. So burnt umber, a little bit of lamp black. Down the bottom here, work it, work it, work it. Okay, look how dark that is. Now that is really creamy. Now you can see what I mean. Look, if I try to roll it down the side of the mixing palette, it's not really going to go anywhere. It's just going to stick to the side there. So let's give that a try and see how it goes. Right, size 00 brush again. There you go. Try that one. And you see instantly, when you start working with this, because it's creamy, you can see the way I'm losing paint very, very quickly here. Even if I load it, roll it, give it a tap, and we'll try that. And it's doing an okay line, but starting to break up in between because the paint is too thick. And because it's too thick, it won't spread. So you have to try and get that consistency just about right, so that when you're painting whiskers or anything with fine hairs, that you can get a nice even flow. I mean, that's just a broken line now, as you can see. Sometimes you want that effect, don't you? So let's just put a drop of water in there and try that. Okay, just mix that one in a little bit. Using my size 00. Take it steady, Paul. And this makes it a little bit runnier. So it's still creamy, but not quite as thick. So we'll try that one. So I'm going to load it, roll it. Take the water off the side. Give it a tap or two. Okay. And we'll try that one. Do it again. Took too much paint off there. And see how that one goes. So I'll try that. As you can see, that is running quite smoothly. There, that's better. Look. See what I mean? So trying to get the paint consistency right for painting whiskers is so, so important. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's go through some ideas on painting the whiskers themselves. So now I know the consistency which I look for when painting whiskers. Let's give it a try. Now I've done some testing out here already. So what I've actually done, I've got my paint consistency to more of a creamy consistency. So I can paint sort of a straight line without that line breaking on the paper. Size 00 brush for me, so I tend to use most of the time. I'm going to load it, I'm going to roll it as I pull away. I'm going to give it a tap on some kitchen roll. Now, as I'm doing here, test this technique out before you go to your main painting. Because I know that people tend to think about whiskers sometimes, not everybody, but some people do. And a little bit scary having to paint them fine whiskers. So try it out first, think about this natural arc, this natural curve in your wrist. And also within your fingertips. And then when you start painting the line, ghost over the area. I call it ghosting. So the idea is you kind of work out roughly where you want it to go. Then using hardly any pressure, you apply that line, lifting off at the very end. So let's do another one. Apply it and lift off. Overlap one, apply it, lift off. And so on. That's what you're doing, applying and lifting off. Now as it starts to break up on the paper there, like it's doing now, that's when you want to reload that brush. Okay, let's just put one through that little gap there, shall we? Yeah, just like that. Reload the brush and then start again. The reason why I always start from the inside of an animal, for example, a cat's head, okay, is because very often you start off with a thicker line or sometimes even a dot like that. But as you do pull away, it will taper. And then you can add a little bit more colour in there. So just add a bit of burnt umber in there. And this is burnt sienna. So burnt umber and lamp black was original, and then burnt sienna over the top. Just to add that extra element, that extra kind of colour to the tips of some of these whiskers. So you can do all sorts of ideas like that. Okay, so use barely any pressure. So 2 hairs and air is all you're going to be doing when you add all these little layers on and these very fine lines. So that's what we'll be doing, working on the whiskers. We've got to look at the kind of shapes that they are. They all vary, don't they, in length and shape and also colour as well. Some of them you want to weaken this down a little bit more, some you want to darken it. Don't do them all deep black or anything like that, okay? So just be careful not to do them like that. So for example, let's work on this side first of all. And we got one there, one there. I do enjoy doing whiskers. One there. If you're doing too thick, don't worry. Once it's dry, we can lift off a little bit of paint, which we can. See what I'm doing here? See how faint these are? So these aren't, so I've got one coming this way now. These aren't too dark, are they? I don't want to go too dark at the moment. And you can if you want to go over the same line again, but you've got to be very careful when you do that. Okay, you've got to be very careful because you don't want to thicken that line out. Okay, so far so good. So I can go over that one again, but even by going over it twice or even 3 times, yes, it'll get darker. But you've got to be careful not to, as I say, get a little bit thicker. I've just gone a little bit thicker on that one. So I'm going to thicken this paint margin just a little bit. I'm going to tap it off camera a minute. And let's do a longer one. So we've got one which branches down there. You don't have to do them precisely, just roughly. So I'm going to just map it first, kind of ghost it. And then bring that in and just bring that over. And there's a longer one. And we'll do another one. So ghost it probably from there. And then bring that in and over. And another one. Bring that in and over. And again, the same again, but overlapping. Like that. And you get the hang of this where you don't have to ghost it all the time like I'm doing now. I'm going to just take off some of that water off that brush. I'm just using the lightest of touches, just do one little area first. I can lighten that. See what I've done? Lighten one area. Like that. Just lighten it, soften it down. You can do that all the way along if you want to. And eventually, if you wanted to, you could even blur it away. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that to dry now. And I'll just add a very faint line in between then, using the same mix. Okay. Right, let's crack on and do some more whiskers. Just take your time, don't rush it, and if you're not sure, remember to practice it first on some more scrap watercolour paper. There you go. I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll pop a little link in the top corner just up there, look. And that's how to paint fine lines and also working with different paint consistencies, and which is basically the thicknesses which I go through as well within that video. So take a look at it and let me know how you get on.